hello. Good morning. So, we're doing a couple of Christmas songs today because it's Christmas basically. And the first song is going to be led by Will.
Hello,
So,
hey.
give him some vibes, everyone. Woo! It's called I Pray on Christmas.
1, 2, 3, 4. I pray on Christmas that the Lord will see me through. I pray on Christmas He'll show me what to do. I pray on Christmas He'll help me understand. And I pray on Christmas He'll take me by the hand. I pray on Christmas that the sick will soon be strong. I pray on Christmas the Lord will hear my song. I pray on Christmas that God will lead the way. And I pray on Christmas that'll get me through another day. I pray on Christmas. I pray on Christmas. I pray on Christmas He'll get me through another day. I pray on Christmas, oh, all our problems gonna be worked out. I pray on Christmas God'll show us what love's about. I pray on Christmas to do your will each day. And I pray on Christmas that I'll be with you in heaven someday. Oh yeah, Mr. Peter, my guy on guitar, y'all. Show me some love. Steve, you can do some claps with us, y'all. Sick will soon be strong. I pray on Christmas Lord will hear my song. I pray on Christmas that God will lead the way. And I really pray on Christmas that I'll see you in heaven someday. I pray get me through another day. I said it'll get me through another day. I said it'll get me through another day. I said it'll get me through another day. Yeah. I said it'll get me through another day. Here we go, y'all. I said it'll get me through another day.
Woo! Give it up for Will and Peter. Yes. So we've got a few more songs that you know already. So this next one is the Stephanie Gressner tune that we've done a few times. It's called Blackout. It's about being a light in dark places. Not yet. Okay. You were his friend. No weapon against you ever stands a chance. Not heaven nor hell, no darkness or light will ever deny you of his wonderful smile. So I won't be silent. It's too good to be true. He just loves you 'cause he loves you 'cause he loves you. One more time. I won't be silent. I won't be silent. It's too good to be true. He just loves you 'cause he loves you 'cause he loves you. 'Cause he loves you.
All right, how awesome was that? Thank you guys so much. You sound amazing today. How are y'all doing? Good, me too. My name's Jarrett. I also love you. Just because. That's one of my favorite tunes that we do. It's by Judah and the Lion. Does anybody know Judah and the Lion? No? Check them out. We do probably like 4 of their songs. And we're going to do a Christmas song at the end called Christmas Song. That's also by them, and it's got kind of like some country jams to it. So anyway, if you like that tune, check him out, Judah and the Lion. He actually also does some stuff under just Judah, and it's like more Christian. The Judah and the Lion stuff is a little less Christian, which I like better, but you know, that's just me. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, real-time survey, okay? I like to try things here that are a little bit different from time to time. When I came in, I noticed they had some lights set up pointed that way. So you might notice it feels a little weird out there with like the purple light. Clap if you hate having purple light on you during the service. Clap if you like it. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll turn it off when I get off stage. Hannah's always like, Jared, turn the house lights up. I can't see anybody. And now I can see. I don't like it. You're like judging me. It's uncomfortable. So we're all going to be in the dark again as soon as I get off stage. Okay, I apologize. Thanks for bearing with me. Announcements. Hannah, are we done with the presents? Today's the last day. If you brought a present, I know we've already got some of them back here, but if you're like walking around with a toy, just bring it up front after the service or give it to one of us. Movie night. We got a movie night coming up, and thanks to Rick and Hannah, it is now on the website. So take your phone out, go to diff.church, and then you can click on events, and all the info you need is right there. We're going to the movies. It's going to be rock and roll. It's going to be awesome. There's not going to be any purple light on you. You're going to love it. I think we have 9 spots left, so snatch them up. They're going fast. After the service today, we're doing Sunday Fun Day at Grand Central Brewhouse, which is just over here. Sometimes they have sandwiches. Sometimes they don't. So maybe if you're hungry, walk by, see if they have sandwiches. If not, there's a couple restaurants right by you can grab food. If you're not hungry, you can go over there, have a beer, have a water, whatever. That's it. Cool? Okay, it's good to see you guys. All right, here comes Hannah. Clap it up for Hannah.
I like you all with purple light because I can see your faces. Normally, this light is so bright that I cannot see the front row, which I know some people, like, if you get up on stage, like, I don't want to see anyone. But I do, because I want to know if you're paying attention. No, I'm kidding. Kidding. I grew up in a tiny Pentecostal church where the lights were very bright because there was only like 20 people in the room, and I apologize for that. Is that better? Okay. I got snapped at a lot as a kid because you could see what I was doing, and I was not paying attention or behaving in any way, shape, or form. And my mom would be up like on stage, and this old lady named Sister Thelma with a crooked finger, she would go at me. At least 10 times in service. And I made her life miserable. And now she's dead. She literally kicked me out of Sunday school like multiple times. So, Sister Thelma, if you're in the great beyond, I apologize. I was a bad child. Actually, there are no bad children, just so everyone knows. Just children who need more support. And there are no bad adults, just adults who need more support. Just feel like I need to say that. Y'all know it's Christmas. We're going to be festive from now through the end of December, and probably still in January, because you cannot kill my Christmas spirit. Okay? It's Advent. It is the month when there's a reason I'm not in the band. Advent, we're going to do something a little different. I'm calling this Honest Advent. And we're going to do, like, if you're not familiar with the terminology, the season of Advent. Advent means coming in Latin. It's a time of waiting. 4 Sundays and the weeks leading up to Christmas Day. So we're supposed to feel the wait. Patiently. We're supposed to be patient, wait for tiny baby Jesus. 6-pound, 8-ounce tiny baby Jesus. To come on Christmas Day. We're supposed to prepare our hearts and minds and souls. And can I just say, as a person who has birthed a human, that 4 weeks of waiting, y'all are getting off easy. Okay, 9 months is how long it takes, and it's terrible. But we're all waiting. We're supposed to feel this wait. And then on Christmas morning, it's like really exciting. We get to finally experience. And so we begin Advent at the beginning with something called Annunciation. Not enunciation, Annunciation. And our passage is from Luke chapter 1, verses 28 and 29. And it says this: Gabriel, the angel, appeared to Mary and says, "Greetings, favored woman. The Lord is with you." Confused and disturbed, Mary tried to think what the angel could mean. Jared, there's like a weird echo up here. I don't know what it is. All right, thank you. Good with the comebacks. Annunciation is the word that we use to describe what we just read. Gabriel appearing to Mary and telling her everything is going to change. That is great. Everyone clap for Jared. He fixed it. Now, I presume most of us would welcome a divine annunciation, right? Like to have some otherworldly being show up and deliver a message straight from God and tell you your purpose in life. It would be like the story you would tell, right? Like I was just sitting in the drive-thru waiting for my grande decaf chestnut praline latte, extra hot, no foam, with almond milk. Yeah, I'm a little extra. And then the Lord appeared to me and told me what I was going to do with my life, and you would just tell that to everyone forever. It would be awesome. No, it would not be awesome. Every time an angel shows up in the Bible, people are like, "I'm sorry, what's happening? Please get away from me, I'm terrified." I'm kind of usually a little bit nervous. I'm just going to do this. Hopefully that'll be fine. About Revelation, because usually if there's a great epic story, it comes at a cost. It's going to ask something of you. And in any divine annunciation, you're going to receive revelation as a gift, like a happy little Christmas gift. And then you're going to receive an eviction notice that tells you that everything you had planned for your life is about to change. And maybe that's good for you. Maybe you're like, I could really use a change. I'm tired of this crap. Would like something different. But the rub of Revelation is it's usually a change we're not in charge of. Like Mary's life was already about to change. She was engaged. She was going to get married. She's going to have a whole different life. And then the angel was like, "Hey, you want to have a baby? But like, you're not. No other person's going to be involved in this. Just going to have a baby. And then, by the way, everyone's going to think you're terrible. Would you like that?" And she was like, I don't know. She said she was willing. And then she finds herself in this story that's so mysterious and divine and deep and compelling, and we still sell it today, every single year. People come into the world already made. We are kind of a culmination of parts, heads and hearts and head, shoulders, knees, and toes. But there is a deeper unseen part of us too. We call this the soul. It's an untouchable part. It's hard to put a finger on, although if you look deep in someone's eyes, you can kind of see it sometimes. And this is the part of us we have to actually bring to our Advent meditations. There's a Franciscan friar named Richard Rohr who is fabulous. You should read him if you like reading. And he sums up spiritual practice like this: the physical world is a doorway to the spiritual world, and the spiritual world is much, much larger. So his tradition basically believes there's a larger reality that's beyond our senses, beyond our accessibility, and it's only through our limited physical realm that we can get into that other realm. There's no like mountaintop you can take your friends to and be like, there's God, while pointing at a bearded dude sitting in a ray of sunshine floating in the air. That's not how it works. Physical evidence is not what we're offered for faith, usually. Like one example of this is when Jesus is teaching his disciples and he talks about two realities and he's like, whatever you've done to the least of these, you've done to me. You saw me hungry, you gave me some food. You saw me thirsty, you gave me some water. And the disciples are like, no, he didn't. We've never seen you hungry. Which makes me question, did they even hang out with Jesus? I'm pretty sure they saw him hungry, but they're confused. And Jesus is like, you gave it to this person who had none, you gave it to me. It's very mysterious. But it seems that what Jesus is pointing to is that the action of caring for other people opens the door to the larger reality, the heavenly place where we connect with God. There's a philosopher named Eckhart who said, if the soul could have known God without the world would never have been created. Who we are is so much deeper than where we find ourselves in each moment, right? This is kind of biblical. In John, it's like there's a giver of life, and the giver of life joins the life, and God's life brings light to all life. Don't get lost in the metaphor. What it's really saying is the function of light is to help us see, right? So Jesus' life helps us see our life more clearly. Jesus being human affirms our being human. There have been whole traditions of Christianity. People tend to throw around the word heresy a lot, especially when it comes to like anything that they disagree with. But there have been whole traditions of Christianity that have been called heresy because they denied the value of the human body. They denied the value of human experience. Jesus was human, which affirms our being human. It affirms that we are not supposed to be anywhere else but here, now, in this life, in this world, from being born into it to disappearing from it. This is the life we are asked to live. And Jesus also affirms in some kind of weird, mysterious way that we are an amalgamation of something seen and unseen, the physical reality and the spiritual reality that is bigger, that we came from somewhere and we're going somewhere, just like he did. The physical world is the doorway to that somewhere, and God's not just present to us there, but God is with us here. But being here feels pretty complicated sometimes. Sad, hard. Sometimes at Christmas it sucks. Sometimes it's great. If you have family coming over, it might be both. Like it hasn't been that, like 2020 existed. I realized this week that when I think about time, like 2020 doesn't even exist in my timeline. I'm like, oh, like last year we did that thing. No, it was 2 years ago or more. 2020 just doesn't even exist. It sucked out a year of our life. But it didn't suck out our soul. Like everything can be taken, right? Our health, our job, anything. Anything can be taken. Our titles, our careers, our savings accounts. But what cannot be taken is the part of us that Jesus illuminates. John is a writer who wrote some of the books in the Bible, and he said, very poetically, he's like, I see the glory of the unseen God in Jesus. And Jesus is full of grace and truth. Truth is defined very simply as the actual state of the matter of things. Seeing things for the way they are. And I think that entails having a clear perspective when looking at everything, but that feels very tricky. I have spent my entire life in pursuit of a clear perspective. I'm working on it. Still, like perspective, for one thing, has to do with vantage point. So I could put 5 apples on a table and be like, this is truth. There's 5 apples. And all the adults who are tall and can see the top of the table say, amen. And then there's a 3-year-old who can only see the edge of the table, and he can only see 3 apples, and he's going to conclude that either we're all nuts, or we are very confused about how to count apples. because he can only see 3 apples. Personal preference is always sneaking in as well. So the actual state of the matter of things is that country music is terrible. However, like sold out stadiums and preferences of many people across the country tell me I may have got that one wrong. And I know I'm like oversimplifying a huge concept. Hello? Oh. Let me just do this, okay? This is called real life. If I can't see it, it doesn't exist. Now I have to remember to keep the microphone close to my face and not out here. So, I have no idea what I was saying. It is true that Jarrett interrupted my train of thought. It is the actual state of the matter of things that the microphone fell, and country music's terrible. And if you want to join my church about that, you can accept donations. No, I'm kidding. I'm oversimplifying this. It's a huge concept, right? But the truth is the end of our journey towards having a clear perspective. Truth is found when we can kind of lay aside our own preferences and our own vantage point and see everything for the way it is. And it is interesting that everyone who spent time with Jesus consistently described him as being full of truth, having a clear perspective, seeing things for the way they really are. And grace. Full of truth and full of grace. And grace is like a theological word and also a middle name of a lot of people. But like, grace is, it's theologically the freely given, unmerited favor and love of God. That sounds nice, but what does that mean? Does that mean like I'm going to get a giant invisible hug at some point today? Does that mean everything is going to go my way mostly in life? No. What it actually means is grace is the antidote to shame. Because shame believes that we lack. Somehow we lack what it takes to be loved. Somehow we lack what it takes to be accepted. And we have to earn it back somehow. And it's the burden of perfectionism, especially in our culture where morally and spiritually and humanly it just destroys our soul because there's no fulfillment of enough. We're just running on a treadmill forever trying to earn back a love, trying to make ourselves into somebody worth loving. But to see Jesus as full of grace means there is no treadmill. There's no checklist you have to meet to deserve God's presence somehow. Jesus' arrival is the thing that says, it stands against the thing that says, if you do it right, then you can be with God. Because Jesus' presence was freely given. It was never withheld. Grace is presence not withheld. And I think this is a tangent, but like if you're having a bad day and you snap at everyone you love and you slam a door and like what do? We don't want to be around people who are having a bad day. Go to your room. Sometimes we're like go to your room to ourselves. We're just gonna put ourselves in the corner in a timeout. But what we actually need is to be with someone who accepts us anyways, who says, yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry you're having a bad day. And then together we can get through it. We can co-regulate. And I think many people lose their faith or they never find it to begin with because of this inherited fundamental belief that who they really are, the real deep down truth of them, is rejected by God. The person, the giver who gave them their life. And I think it's easy to see why we believe this, right? Does it make sense to you though? Like this has been drilled into our heads, right? You're bad. You have to say some words and then you won't be bad anymore. But you still kind of are bad. You're still going to do bad things. So like make sure you keep repenting because you're bad. But God saved you, but you're bad though. But now you're good, but you still do bad. Does this make sense to you? That you were created by a God who cannot accept you because of how bad you are until you say a magic sentence of belief in God, and now you are accepted. But you were bad when you were born, but God knew this, and this is how it happened anyways. Like, I mean, we all have our faults, right? We all have our bad habits, okay? We all have things that we have to work through. We have struggles, we have stuff. But if our starting place to a relationship with God is that we are not accepted because we weren't created perfect enough by the God who created us to be accepted, then we can't do it because everything is stacked against us already. And I think it's easy for us to fall into this trap because of our lived experience, right? Like we all had relationships end because of stuff we did, stuff we said, anger and hurt and lying and shame and not dealing with our trauma and not processing and taking our anger out on someone else. And we just weave this into our practices of religion, all of our songs and our liturgies and our rituals, and eventually our whole theology becomes not a reminder that you are loved, not a reminder that God wants to be with you, that Emmanuel, the name for Jesus, means God with us, but it becomes a list of things, a list of accomplishable works that we must do to earn love somehow. And I mean, any religion based on trying to earn love is going to fail. Because doing stuff, while sometimes great, will never heal the fear that we have in our souls of being left alone because of who we really are. What we need is for someone to, I say this all the time, what we need, what we're all looking for is to someone to see who we really are and stay. To see who we really are and say, you're enough, you're good. And I always get like, this is not in my notes, but I always get kickback from people, especially evangelicals who were like raised in the church like I was, because it's been ground into our souls, right? That, well, God has to save you from something. You're just taking away the sacrifice of Jesus. No. We have to be loved for who we are, which is how God loves us. God never says, I need you to fix yourself up so I can love you. God never says, I had a hand in creating the whole universe, and I knew you were going to turn out like this, and it's not good enough. Never. God created humanity and said, it is very good. And part of the process of being in a faith relationship with God, of growing into a relationship with God, is accepting that being human is not being bad. Being human is good. If being human wasn't good, Jesus wouldn't have been a human. So what's God saving us from? I mean, ourselves mostly. Like, I'm not saying we are not capable of great evil. We are, clearly. Look at history, right? I am not saying that we cannot do great harm to each other and to ourselves. I am saying that is a distortion of who we are, not fundamentally who we are. That at our core level, at the very bottom of the well, is not an evil pit of sadness and darkness and hate. It's a light. And what is the purpose of light? To drive out the darkness. I'm going to get really preachy if I keep going down that tangent. So, we're going to get back on track. I don't know, you give me a handheld microphone and I get very excited, apparently. Okay, so, any religion based on trying to earn love will fail. Because doing stuff will never heal our fear of being left alone because of who we are, of being rejected because of who we are. We need to be loved for who we are, the actual state of the matter of us, the truth of us. And that's where Jesus shows up. We are a culmination, our lives, of like holy moments and juicy moments and terrible moments and the moments you gossip about to other people and like all of that. And Jesus shows up right in the middle of our complicated, messy, great, terrible, impossible, brutal lives, just like us, real and completely vulnerable. And I think any real connection involves vulnerability, whether it's marriage or friendship or any kind of relationship can only go so far until we've exhausted all of our funny stories that like make people like us. And then we realize that where we really connect as humans is the places where we walk with a limp. Like if you go to a work conference and you hear someone just being so fabulous and being like, I have built this amazing business and you should follow me because blah, blah, blah. And they're like, here's your 12-step process to like how you can become who I am. Okay, but if they never had any struggle in that story, we're not gonna believe it. If they never failed, if they never had to try again, if they never doubted everything that they were going for, we're not going to believe that story. To attempt to create anything in this world is to take a risk. All creating is being vulnerable. Like even our biology, we're just a culmination of all kinds of stuff, of systems and organs and cellular mysteries that just like still confound us to this day. And when all of these parts work together, oh, it's delightful. But only recently have we been able to see this stuff. Like we have MRIs and CAT scans and 3D models of stuff in our bodies because we live in the 21st century. Like we can see babies growing. We can see ultrasounds. That didn't exist for pretty much all of human history. So how were humans created? No one knew. Just, well, I mean, we guess we know how. Okay, so when a man and a woman, because that was really the only way to do it back then, you know, there was no medical intervention. So, you know, when the puzzle pieces, you try to explain this like a 3-year-old. Okay, so this is all we had. Something happens, and then baby. And we get to bear witness now. We have photographs and ultrasounds and videos and 3D ultrasounds, which they look terrifying. Like, I'm for it if you had a baby and you have one of those. I did not because I saw my friend had one, and I was like, ooh. I'll stick with a 2D image of this baby, this alien that I'm growing. But, like, everything was a secret before. It was just a relationship between a mom and a speck. And it's just a completely vulnerable relationship because the baby has no choice but to trust that it's going to get everything it needs to grow and be safe. And the mom has no choice but to offer herself because the baby's going to take what it needs. And if you've ever been pregnant, you know what I'm talking about. It's going to take, like literally my doctor, I had lost a bunch of weight because I was so sick, and my doctor was like, I mean, baby's going to take what it needs. Yeah, I know. I feel terrible. Both parties are creating something new together. It's not just the baby that's taking from the mother. There is science that's so fascinating to me that there's a cellular transfer, not just from the mom growing the baby, but the baby transfers cells back to the mother because, I don't know why, because it happens, but some pregnant women like experience an absence of medical conditions while they're pregnant because the baby is actually healing them while growing. So it's this relationship that's going in a circle, but it's a risk, right? Miscarriage is a risk. Complications with birth are a risk, especially throughout history, both to the baby and to the mom. And this is what I want you to think about. Y'all can come back up. This is what I want to leave you with. What does it say about God that God was willing to be that vulnerable with us? What does it say about God that God was willing to come into the world through the statistical risk of childbearing? That God was willing to risk miscarriage? That God was willing to be attached to a placenta for 9 months? Totally dependent on it for nourishment and life inside of God's own creation. What does it say about God that God was willing to wait and grow in the dark for 9 months? To come into the world and be born helpless and defenseless and full of needs, just like we are. What does it say about God that God was willing to be fearfully and wonderfully made? I feel like I can never, every Christmas, this blows my mind. Like God came to us floating in embryonic fluid. A speck, and then a dot, and then the size of a pea, and then a grape, and then a lime, and a mango, and you know, all the things the app tells you. Your baby is the size of a watermelon. I know. That God came slowly. A little tadpole with flippers and a tail. And then had little webbed hands and feet that transformed into fingers. That God had clear skin that slowly turned pink and filled out. That God had tiny wisps of hair, maybe, that gave Mary extreme heartburn. growing, what does it say about God? That God came to us in human form, from inside another human, a Middle Eastern teenage girl, that God trusted would care for God's son. Just kind of think about that this week. Like, does that turn any notion that you have of God and how God interacts with humanity on its head? Does it make a difference in your faith that it's so important to be human, that it's so good to be human, that God validated it by becoming human, and that God was willing to be that vulnerable with us, to open God's self up that deeply to connect with us? And the real question becomes, are we willing to do that? Are we willing to do the long process of growth, to wait in the dark for the transformation, to give up maybe our plans like Mary did, and be willing to take a chance, a risk to create a new life, a relationship, to craft a future that God is a part of, where faith actually is meaningful in your life beyond just words and phrases, beyond just I'm bad and God had to save me, but something that fans that tiny little flame into something so big and so bright that God's love overflows out of you to where other people can't help but notice. What? Not that you're bad. You're good. Are we willing to be as vulnerable as God was? Doors arms. So if you'd like to stand and sing with us, can we reflect on that together?
So we played this song recently. It's new. And I invite you to consider the idea that love exists, that's boundless, beyond the end and the beginning. see the end. Happy, how high is your love for me? I can never see the end. How deep, how wide, how high is your love for me? I can never see the end. How deep, how wide, how high is your love for me? I can never see the end. Okay, so this is the last song. It's the Christmas song. I'm really excited about it. As Jared said, it's by Judah and the Lion. Is that what they're called? Judah and the Lion. What an epic band name, by the way. There we go.
There we go. Now we're
I
talking.
embrace tiger-ness. Tigership. I'm not sure how to say it. So this is probably a Christmas song that you know, or at least have heard. So definitely, if you feel the need, chime in and sing along with us. Because we know that Santa's on his way. I love y'all. Yes.
Christmas mood? Get with the program, you Scrooge. Whoa. I like the echo, Jarrett. You can sit down. Unless you want to dance. And then do you.
Yeehaw.
That was amazing. I'm so excited. Christmas is my favorite. Thank you for being here. I love to see all your faces and the camera if you're watching online. At the risk of being cheesy and emotional, really like you guys. Like, we've been around for almost 2 years now. As, like, in 2.5 months, Different Church will have existed for 2 full years. Statistically, almost, like, most church plants fail in the first 2 years. So the fact that y'all have believed in us enough and supported us enough to help us keep existing and being here every Sunday, and it's like such a privilege. You guys are the Christmas present under my tree, okay? Okay, I'm gonna stop. Y'all know I'll get emotional, and I did not have much sleep last night, so I cannot regulate today. Okay, there will be tears at some point today, I guarantee you. Check out the Stuff Center on your way out. If you don't have any Different Church stickers, grab one. They're totally free. You can go to diff.church if you want to just talk to us about anything. You can donate. Thank you for helping us live, pay the bills, pay our rent, and generally be fabulous. We are going to Grand Central Brewhouse. It's 2 blocks that way on Central. I believe they open at noon, so it's not quite noon, so hang out, make a friend, and then go over there. They have beer, of course, but they also have free sparkling and still water and flavors you can put into it if you're not an alcohol person, so that is totally cool. And sometimes they have sandwiches. So if you're hungry, pack a snack like I did. I ate a banana. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. I don't know. I did a wedding last night, so I was like, the moment you've been waiting for. By the power vested in me, I'm going to pray, and then you can all go about your day. Let's pray. Christ is born among us in flesh like ours, tender and vulnerable, with a mind like ours, doubtful and hopeful. This is how God is, causing the sun to rise hopeful over the horizon, no matter the state of hope in our hearts, causing the seasons to change, and winter and then spring to come, no matter what season we are stuck in, causing birthing pain to roll through our vulnerable bodies as our messy and graceful new life is born. And for all of this, we say thank you. And Merry Christmas. Amen. See y'all next week.